Hello and welcome to Swabhiman Bharat. He's one of the first names that comes to our minds when we talk about Indians making the nation proud on a global stage. An iconic music composer who's won everything from the Grammys to Oscars and made a billion hearts swell with pride. A global ambassador for the nation, for Bharat and its rich musical heritage. He is busy making music for multiple international projects even as he continues to top the music charts back home. But R Rahman is also now a filmmaker. He joins us for a very, very special conversation. Rahman sir, vanakkam, namaste, thank you so much.
Vanakkam, namaste, how are you? Thank you so much.
Very good, sir. From composing ad jingles so many years back to now becoming a filmmaker. And in the process, in the course, winning multiple awards, Academy, and of course, so many more. How does it feel when you look back at this journey?
It looks like a dream. Every step, I think, if you take right and by the blessing of God and love of people, I feel like I've crossed many different things, good and bad. And I think the persistence of being in art and being in music and being in the shade of love of all of you gives me more energy.
You're also somebody who's taken Indian music to the international stage. So what are the factors that you think have driven your success?
My inquisitive, I think probably learning attitude is to absorb things and be quiet and absorb. And by absorbing, you actually enrich your consciousness, your knowledge, everything. And then you are much more not in conflict with yourself. So you're much more embracing, and there's a generosity both ways. So whether it's a musical style or whether it's wisdom or whether it's stories, so that gradually evolved into storytelling. So I think you combine with, you have friendship with masters of cinema or, geniuses, you also get some of it, I feel. And my interest in filmmaking actually really started after the Oscars and life in Los Angeles. 5 years, going for workshops and meeting all this world-class, directors and editors and screenwriters, and they made me comfortable with what I was doing. And so they were not judging me.
Yeah.
And like here, people could look, you're writing a story. Will it be good or not? So that I didn't have, that intimidation I didn't have, even though people are very embracing. And there are a lot of stuff written in the book Notes of a Dream by Krishna Tirlok about the process of what we did.
But tell us a little more about this 99 songs. A few more gray hairs and you've been wondering, it all looks very rosy when you look at it from the outside, but when you get into filmmaking, producing, directing, must be quite exacting. How's the process been, and what was the motivation behind 99 songs?
So one thing I decided was I want directed, because direction requires undivided attention. I got this young director, Vishwesh Krishnamurthy, whose work I've been following, and one of my friends suggested. And so both of us hung out, and then I told him the story. I downloaded the information on him. And so he came up with, we did a lot of previous in which we agreed that this will be the tone of the film, this will be the style of the film. This is the new voice of the film. We have great filmmakers out here, and each one has been catering a generation. Now the generation is constantly evolving. The viewers are watching things which they would have never had access to before on OTT and everything on internet. So I felt like this is the time to probably reinvent and try a new voice in a musical set story, an Indian story, and it's also a universal story.
But how is this transition, making music to making a whole movie?
Quite cathartic, because here nobody's telling you what to do. You define it. And so that is a question. It's a trick in the mind plays. Actually, you're constantly being told, I need a love song, I need a patriotic song, I need a devotional song, I need a bhajan, I need a qawwali. But here, it's like what you're defining, you have to do.
Yeah.
It's a bit hard, just to take the role of both the commissioner and the commissioned. and so that was scary, because what if you are taking a decision which is not very good, and then the composer in you also follows the other person. So we're constantly doing checks and then, of course, we have Vishwesh and we have, bouncing board, and there were other few friends. But it was a bit lonely in a way, actually, because in a way we wanted to have our own voice, so we were secluded in a way. And when the movie released, I did screenings to tweak some of the stuff, some of the questions which started coming. And so we did a little bit of patchwork. And it's a movie in 3 languages. It's in Hindi, in Tamil, and Telugu. So a lot of work, like more than 20 writers and 20 singers involved. It's a full, amazing group of beautiful artists coming together.
But when it all came together, and when you see this entire product, which was there, perhaps a figment in your imagination, in your mind, and then you've seen it all manifest, how's the feeling?
The feeling is great, but also scary. Sometimes you could get carried away. My mind, we had a little bit of preview in Busan Film Festival, a previous version of the movie, and we had some very kind remarks, and I don't want to talk about it because it'll be like promoting my own movie. But so that actually gave us a little bit of confidence that, and also South Korean audience coming in and watching this movie for the first time. And so for India, I think I would suggest come with very low expectations, but high interest and hopes.
True. Now, since we're talking about India, let's talk a little bit about the music scene here. Do you see it evolving over a period of time? There is a lot of independent music also that's now reviving and coming through, but still film music dominates the music scene in our country. How do you see it changing, and what's your take on people's tastes, and how you think is the music scene evolving in India?
I think musicians are more empowered now. Like you see very, very different kind of artists. Music doesn't have to be just a guitar and a song and subordinate thing. There are various people doing various things. They're doing covers, they're doing spoofs, they're doing production where they tune a dialogue. I'm talking about Yash Raj. Then I'm talking about even classical musicians like kids from Aurangabad and kids from Indian kids from abroad. All that stuff is happening. There's a renaissance happening actually. If you look at it, there is clutter, but there's also some really, really empowerment happening. And we started an app called Maja down south, and that song by Dee and Aribu and Santosh Narayan has reached almost 110 million in a month. So it's all pretty interesting.
But tell us a little more about the app. You just mentioned about it. You're talking about Enjoy Anjami, I think that's the song that's really breaking the records and becoming a sensation. But tell us about Maja, the platform.
Maja's platform is, it aspires to empower musicians because there's no, moderation in it. Like anybody who's super good can join there and be this group of team of great creators. And the thing which we aspire to do is to empower them with even monetary things. Suppose if people in future become subscribers to the channel in the app, they also would get paid for that. So right now somebody puts it on YouTube and I don't know whether they get paid or not. And it's fun to have a platform where people can see everything. But how are they going to run their house, the kitchen? And it should be empowered. I think that should be even more fair. And if that happens, that will be the victory for indie musicians. And that should happen. And with the apps like Patreon and many other apps now doing subscription-based things, which are pretty interesting to see. Because literally, actually, music is free now. Everybody listens to music free.
True.
And there was once where people used, it sold this many thousand copies and this many CDs, but music is being made. The demand for music is always there, but the ways are changing. So that is the most fascinating thing. Like nobody ever buys music; they just subscribe to a channel or like a streaming service or something. And that's it.
True. The days of buying records, gramophones, and from there it became tapes and then CDs. All of that is gone, isn't it? It's like subscribing to platforms and channels, like you said.
It's a good thing and a bad thing because having a product where you go proudly, I want to support this artist, I love this person, and you go buy a solid thing which you possess it, and you look back 20 years from now, you look at the record cover, like there's no record for any albums of the past probably at least 7-8 years. You don't see a CD cover. You don't even know whether it's existed if the streaming service is going to fail. So it's a pretty dangerous thing actually, but it's empowering at the same time scary.
But technology is also, like you said, empowering and scary. But technology is also opening avenues. Those who did not need, now there's no dependence on record labels. You can go ahead and stream, you perform, and then you get subscribers. You can, in this COVID world, in this pandemic world, concerts are going online. So it's a different form of expression, and people, who didn't get opportunity, or people, technology is helping a lot of people create music and also perhaps sample music. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's a double-edged sword. When you have a system where it's moderated and people are super talented and super gifted are allowed, you have a sense of security. Oh, something is coming from this label, something is coming from this movie director or this production. But now it's empowered. So people have to be a little more responsible and put only the most beautiful things out, so that the good things don't get whisked away because of thousands of bad things out there.
The conversation with R Rahman continues after a very, very short break. Stay with us. Welcome back to ITC Presents Swabhiman Bharat. We are up close and personal this time around with none other than one of India's musical giants, R Rahman, a man who's known for both his timeless melodies as much as his penchant for the use of technology in his craft. How do you think the scenario for Indian music has changed? Because I know you have contributed a great deal in terms of respect for the Indian music scene. There are the likes of El Sob, Zakir Hussain, and you took classical music to a different level and created something new, and took it to the world stage. But in terms of film music and creating a certain genre, you've played a huge role. But how has the approach and the mindset changed towards Indian music globally?
I think we have a long way to go. I feel like we have everything. It requires leadership. It requires concise vision where people are together. Like if you look at South Korea, what they've done with BTS and Pink, Blackpink and everything. The government, everybody's together, they're just pushing it and promoting it. And you see the fans all over, from Grammys to the east, to the west, north, south. They're big, even though nobody understands a word of it.
Yeah.
So that's huge. So that should happen to Indian music also. We have the talent, we have the money, we have the power, everything. I think everything should join together and create a beauty, and which is also sympathetic towards their sensibilities, because you can't thrust some other culture down the throat with somebody else. So that needs to be, I think this movie actually, that is a vision. The way we have made 99 songs is to make that bridge easy, so that people can, in any country can watch this. And because it's not too cultural, too regional or anything. It's made in a very universal style, so that anyway, people in Turkey, Russia, or the US, UK, Europe, South Africa can appreciate, because of our culture. At the same time, there's a very easy bridge to watching the movie or probably enjoying the music.
True, but I just want to go back to what you said. You said the South Koreans have been able to do something which we can do, but we haven't done yet. We have miles to go. How can we do it? So, if I may ask you this, how is it that we can do this?
Well, I think it's important to question it. The answers will come from, it's not a one single answer, it'll be multiple answers. And I think that's ought to happen. Because sometimes you feel like we are very happy. One of my friends said, Indian artists are like frogs in a well. They think that is the world. They don't jump out of the well and see, to empower themselves to show the world. And he talked about stories and filmmakers also. I mean, that's a little crude comment, but I felt like there is some truth in it. when you ask anybody, why can't Indian film get Oscars, or so they say, why do we need Oscars? We have 1.3 billion. You know, we have our own market, we have our money, we have a life, but our Indians are living abroad. Our Indians are in different states or in different countries, and so if something goes wrong, because it just takes one tweet to divide people. It takes one incident to probably abuse, be racist, and all the stuff you've seen now, the past 2 years, things are happening in a very drastic way, which very unkind to humanity. In that case, I think a movie or an expression or a song or a story can stop people to say, no, I saw that movie, I saw that story, I love that song, I should not attack this race. That I feel like, I know it's a very large perspective, but I felt like this is very, very important for filmmakers now not to do divisive movies. They have to do things which great for humanity, which unites humanity, and not bank on how let's divide these people and get box office. Let's use their anger and hatred to get stuff.
No, absolutely. And I know very well that you are a very fierce patriot. You feel very strongly about India, about Indianness. And it's also there in your music. Although there are global influences and you can hear multiple sounds, but there's always something very Rahman, very Indian in what you do. But how does that inspire you? I'd like you to share with us and also with our viewers, what does being Indian mean to you? What does Bharatiyata, what does this entire thing about self-reliance, self-sufficient mean to you?
I think when somebody's empowered, if a person like me from Chennai, from a middle-class family, who's lost a father when I was very young, when something is given to me, I always think about where I live first, the Tamil people, and we have our own color, we have our own language. At the same time, the magic of India being clinging together with so many various languages, cultures, and still feel that this is India, and nobody can break this. And so starting from, Bharat Humko in Roja, and producing the song Vande Mataram, Ma Tujhe Sanam, and to Al Lagan, and to Slumdog Millionaire. And so the graph, if you see, there's so much of country attached to my music. And there's so much of that attached with a sense of pride and also sense of progress. And also foreseeing and aspiring progress of a country and progress of humanity. How now the West also shares so much of knowledge on the internet. And we share so much of knowledge on the internet about, our yoga and herbs and Ayurveda and so many things. So that's a beautiful thing where people share and evolve together. So, but there is a problem when multiple people come in. There is a sense of racism internationally. You see, because of whatever obvious reasons. And to counter that, I think we need to be empowered. We need to show ourselves to the world in a certain way that they should just look up to us and not cringe in everything, in character, in the way we project ourselves. And I think movies play a very, very big role in that.
Yeah, because they say there is this soft power, and music, and this is a soft scene where worlds like sport does music, because the world then stands up and takes notice of you, and then they are more open to you, they understand you a little more, and perhaps music, movies, just like sport.
Sports also. I'm sorry, I forgot sports.
Yeah.
Sports is another big thing.
Yeah. So what is it that we can do as a nation? Because this call for an Atmanirbhar Bharat or a Swabhiman Bharat comes at a time when we are at that position of opportunity, where we can go ahead and tell the world, this is what we have to offer. How do you think we can do it and you can do it, help to it?
I feel like there's seed to be sown. Things like, see, if I play a keyboard, I've been buying it from Japan or America or UK for 40 years of my life. There's still no keyboards made here. There's still no TVs made here, things which we can use. There are no cameras being made here. I don't know what stops Indians to innovate. And that's one question. And because I have this thing called Future Proof, we question all these basic childlike questions and getting answers from experts. So we did one on cinema actually, and why our movies get tossed off, from places like Oscars. Indian makers, when they send movies, and the panel which selects it, every time they send something, it's being tossed off. So what does it take for Indian movies to stand the test? And I know Iran has got a nomination, South Korea's got nominations, France and Italy, all over the world. But what does it take to stand there, for movies to enter there? The amazing filmmakers who are good in their own thing, but to put that extra bridge so that they can cross and achieve greatness and show a culture in the way where it is progressive and it is also useful for the world citizens and humanity.
No, very well said, Rahman sir. Always a pleasure to speak to you. Thank you very much. We have paucity of time, so I'm going to thank you and say, really, really proud of the work that you're doing. I'm a fan personally, and I hope and wish you all the very success, not just in music, but also as a filmmaker. Wish 99 Songs also a lot of success.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.